I just found my first renter last Thursday after sweating a whole bunch of bullets on a house that I closed on the end of April. And I guess I'll say I joined this group because, Tony has helped me get started and go on the way. And my ambition is to start a real estate business, not just buy houses. And my goal is to be able to retire early. So I love the term mailbox money. I've never heard that before. I think I heard you say that a couple of times, Tony. So yeah, that's my goal. I want a whole bunch of mailbox money. I want the mailbox full. Because, this work thing is not, I don't see myself going another 25 years or so, which is when I officially would retire. So yeah, nice to meet everyone. I guess I'll just be listening because all I got is newbie stuff to contribute. Newbie mistakes.
I'm so proud of you because you came into the game and you talked about what you were going to get, came in, saw it, and you conquered it. You got your new project, you finished it, and you got a renter. So that's huge. So congratulations on that. New
Thanks.
On the way.
Yes, I even have to go find the mailbox. UPS. Yes.
Hey, what's going on, gang? Excited, happy to see you guys tonight. Another night that we dig into helping you reach your goals in the real estate market and how to start actually taking your business, your real estate business, to another level. From investing to flipping to wholesaling, all that. We have a system in place. So if you're not a member already, make sure you go to the link in the bio and get access to our free masterclass where we help you start building passive income in the real estate game. You get an active coach that's going to help you strategize step by step everything that you need to do to be successful in the real estate game. So make sure you lock in with us. Shout out to everybody that's been inside of our mastermind each Wednesday. We have a mastermind for our members only, and we dig in. We go over your deals. We make sure you're writing them. We give you examples. We actually look at real deals and help you get the deal you need to make money in the real estate game. So I'm excited for tonight. We got a great call tonight. We got a superstar that is one of the coaches here on the team. We're going to be talking about should real estate interest rates really affect you if you're a real cash buyer, if you're a real investor. Put it like that, because we hear in the news where if you're if the interest rates go up or down, they can affect the market, which is true because most people aren't using cash to buy. And most people don't know how to analyze deals, so they want to use the bank's money instead of their own, which is nothing wrong with that. But you have to also be an educated investor and know when to buy and understand that when interest rates are high or low, there's an abundance of opportunity that you should dig into and not fear. Because you hear a lot of real estate agents say when the interest rates are high that the people aren't buying because they're dealing with a lot of first-time home buyers. That's why. And they don't have the money right off. So, of course. But the investor, the savvy investors, know when to dig in and keep digging in and finding those deals that are those needle in the haystack deals to find the opportunity there. There's an opportunity in every market. Sometimes you got to create the market, and sometimes you just got to dig into the market and find those deals. So we're going to bring up our next guest. Our guest, he's a coach here in the team. What's going on? The founder of the GGs, one of the founders. Let's welcome Big Yon, El Patron. Welcome to the show. What's up,
man? Hey, what's going on, Tony? What's going on, everybody? Hey, man. Salute here from beautiful weather here in Medellin. I mean, in your hometown.
Yes, you're here, man. So happy to see you. Have a great week here with you visiting, and have a great time, man. So I'm excited, man, because you built a real business where you can do it anywhere. And that's what we share with some of the members, that you can do a business from anywhere if you understand how to run numbers. Because once you understand how to run numbers in the business, you can do that business from anywhere in the world because the numbers never lie, right?
Yeah.
So our topic tonight is we're talking about interest rates and how they affect a lot of people, especially investors, when it comes down to buying properties. And I want to debunk the myth that you shouldn't buy when interest rates are high. You should always be looking for deals no matter what time the market is. Like, I want you to break down uh, both sides of the spectrum as far as what's happening in the real estate market right now pertaining to interest rates.
Yeah, but we've been talking about that lately, Tony, with other investors and other wholesalers and other flippers out there. And even though they're right now, interest rates still dropping, it's still not moving the inventory. I got an offer this morning in one of our listings, and we're losing money. You know, but it's one of those things that right now we have to take what we got and restructure again. Now, um, I believe that the interest rate was still going to be even dropping even more. Now, right now, for example, I think developers and builders are taking advantage of this because they're the one that are able to buy down points and give a lot of incentive for those first-time home buyers. Now, if you are an investor, like if you're into buying and flips, I would advise to you to do that away from developers because you cannot compete against them. But there's a lot of reason why as well. Think that the way that things are moving are not as quick as or fast enough like it was last year or the year before. You know, we got an electoral year. We have a lot going on with all the strikes and the war and all that. So that's affecting. It is affecting as well. A part of it. So, but at the end of the day, we keep it moving. We keep things moving. And I think that if you're savvy enough, you better know where you're going to invest. But yes, take advantage of everything. Now, still, if you're first time by you buying something today and the interest rate drop in a year or two, hey, you can always refinance. You know, um, those are flippers. Um, Restructure right now your game plan, and now you're gonna be able to have someone that's gonna afford to buy your house. So you have to take that in consideration.
You mentioned something important. We're in an election year, right?
Yeah.
Who's going to vote for Trump or Kamala? Who's the best candidate? Who's not the best candidate? It's a lot of noise out there, and in any market, there's always opportunity. You got to know how to find that opportunity. How do you think elections are affecting rates right now?
Well, I mean, they need to. We need to stimulate. They need to stimulate the market right now, and we don't know where we're going. I mean, you and I talked about it behind the scenes that we don't know which one's going to be the best one at this moment. And to answer your questions is there might be definitely opportunity that because what's going on right now, interests are still they're still going to be drop.
Good
And
point.
it's like, yeah, time of crisis are the times of opportunities.
You're 100% right. Time of
Yeah.
crisis is a time of opportunity
Yeah.
because we have some members that are focused on building the passive income with rental properties. Some want to flip properties, and there's some that want to wholesale properties all over the place. And each one has a different um, game plan for what they're looking to do. And I'm having like an echo. Do you hear the echo? You hear the echo?
I hear echo. Let me see where
Okay. Oh,
yeah,
that's
let me,
good. That's
yeah,
better. Okay,
yeah.
cool. So everybody has their own strategy when it comes down to investing, but during times where there's an election year, we have a tendency to make excuses for ourselves. Just like at the end of the year, where people always like to say, sales are slow, and it could possibly be the truth in your case, but you have to make up in your mind that it's not going to be that slow for me. There's going to be buyers there, and I'm going to get those buyers. While everybody's saying it's slow and basically talking themselves out of selling a property or buying a property, I'm still going to hit my goal during that time. So how do you switch the mindset, even in a scenario where there's an election year, instead of like excusing yourself from doing the things that you're supposed to be doing, which is picking up the phone, making the call, still continuing your marketing, getting over that mindset of limited beliefs, and still breaking through, and still finding the deals that you know you need, and hitting the goals that you know that's going to help you have an eventful year, hit the goals that you want to make, and actually be able to afford the things that you want by the end of the year when it's time for gift making. You got the money to spend. You're not stressed out.
Well, you have to structure yourself. When in times like this is the best time for you to restructure. Okay, you have to think out of the box. You got to think out of the box, and then you have to adapt yourself to the new wave. So I would just say situations like this is where you kind of like start thinking like, okay, now how can things make things different in order to get more leads, in order to get more sales. Okay, you got to listen to the media. you know uh you know you have to break the ice on a lot of things, so you got to restructure yourself. I've been in this situation already a couple of times, Tony, and I definitely, things changes and you have to adapt yourself. You have to definitely restructure your game plan. How do you find the leads? Where you're selling, where you're wholesaling, where you're flipping. At the end of the day, I'm a big believer. You guys know I'm a Section 8 expert, and I love it. This is when the time comes and you want get that portfolio of those investors that are selling it, and you come in and pick them up. Put your money there and let it sit and get that passive income. So take advantage of a lot of things. And right now, especially that the market is kind of interesting right now, put it say. Obviously they're adapting the price. Everything is dropping, prices are dropping, in order to stimulate the sales. So take advantage right now what's going on. Even I've seen wholesalers are selling properties in a better price point, you know. So restructure yourself, because guess what happened when everything is up and fine? Everything goes up, you know. And now
100%.
and now also, Tony, those that a lot of realtors are putting their license on hold.
Hmm.
You
Oh,
know,
tell me
a
about
lot,
that.
yeah, a lot of realtors are, because they're not selling just because everything was going on. So that's why you always coach into the multiple streams of income, right? So that's what we're doing right now. You have to have several things going on, because if something slows in one end, you still got your other business running. That's why I say, guys, I mean, having rental portfolio is one of the best, because at least you can have a basic income that I can at least get you through. Everything else, flipping, wholesaling, uh, d- d- doing any other, Airbnbs, yeah, that's fine, but you still got to have that extra income.
Yeah, 100%. Well, that goes into our next story where we were talking about over the other day we were talking about um, HOAs, and I've had a lot of experience dealing with HOA situations. And we had a member on the other day that actually had to restart an HOA in his community, and he made the news talking about HOA because he felt like he wasn't getting dealt with properly, and the HOA actually ended up uh, having to pay him. So
Wow.
he hit the news, and we had him on the other day. We're going to have him probably a piece on this show and talking about that scenario dealing with the HOA, because dealing with HOAs can be a challenge for some investors as well. I've dealt with them. Tell us about your experience dealing with HOAs.
Well, it's not happy, not happy. Matter of fact, I might have to call that member, see if he can help us in a subdivision that we have in Atlanta. That I don't know why HOAs are increasing the fees, and we don't see the results. And I know that there's a lot of vacancies. Maybe that's probably why. And then and then the investors or the homeowners during that subdivision, we have to pick up the tab for others. They should definitely restructure that. Definitely they should. And I think people really have to look deep into the HOA. It's a business, man. I'm telling you, um, they're so strict for a lot of things, but they don't really do what they're supposed to, and that doesn't create value in your community on your investment. You know, I have 3 units in Morrow, Georgia, and their HOAs are like $450 a month. You
Mm.
know, and I'm already talking to the board members to say, hey, we need to do something about this. And then also you got other. Matter of fact, I do have another listing that unfortunately because it's not insurable, the HOA is mentioned. So I have my future buyers that they have FHA or conventional. They can't get the loan approved because our subdivision it's not insurable. So I don't know. That's a good topic. That's a good subject to talk about. But I'm not being really. I have not had any good experience with some of my HOAs that I have in some of my rental units.
Well, you mentioned something too, because it's almost like its own government, and they have a lot of power. And we've had to strategize with buying properties inside of HOA communities as well over the years, because sometimes they're not managing. You just mentioned some of them just kind of take advantage of that, because many times these are people that have never been in power positions, but now they're running an HOA. They have funding coming through. They're telling people what they need to do, what they're not supposed to do, and there's communities out there that's trying to fight against that, because the rates are going to rise up. And I tell an investor, if I'm buying something that's inside of an HOA, it's something that I want to live in part time and Airbnb a certain amount of time, or I'm going to get in and out, because especially if it's not managed properly. And a lot of these HOAs don't have the reserves in place, and
Mm-hmm.
buy a property in the HOA community and have a tough time selling it for finance, because the first thing that a bank's going to ask you is uh, what's the financial solvency of the homeowners association, and they're going to want to see reserves. They're going to want to see insurance. They're going to want to see that they've been able to sustain, that they're set up properly. And unfortunately, a lot of HOAs aren't set up properly. So that's a big deal when you're buying something that's inside of an HOA, and what you should do to handle those types of scenarios, which are pretty interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyone that's buying into a townhome community or apartment complex community, make sure they get the bylaws. Ask all the questions. Ask all the questions. You need to know everything before you buy into a community that has HOA. It depends what's the purpose, right? If it's going to be a rental, if it's going to be your own personal one, it's going to be Airbnb. If it's, if it's going to be if it's going to be a fix and flip, that as well. Make sure that you do your homework right before you buy into a HOA community.
Great points. Great points. That's going to lead us into our next story. We're going to talk about squatter crisis in Atlanta. And as an investor, you're going to eventually deal with squatters. Squatters are people that get into a house. They don't have a lease. They don't have any illegal connection to the property, but actually they may have a legal connection with the property just by staying in it. Let's check out this story. After this, let's get this out the screen here. Come on.
It's been said nothing good ever happens in an empty house. In fact, it's been said, these words of wisdom from real estate expert John Adams, based on decades of experience as a Georgia landlord and property manager. But what happens when somebody moves into your empty house, takes possession, and changes the locks? Well, the answer, it may surprise you, because you can't just call a locksmith. It's not as simple as it sounds. John joins us now, and good morning to you, John.
Good morning.
So a squatter, we're talking about squatters. So just to define that, it's a person who's illegally residing on your property that they don't own, right?
Have you ever had some squatters, Big Young?
Not, unfortunately, no. No, luckily for me, I haven't dealt with that situation in the past, but I have some colleagues that they have, and they have to go through the whole process of going to the county, like if it was an eviction, and then get the writ of petition from the judge so you can go to the sheriff and be able to. But there's some people that do some power move. There's some investors that they know how to quickly go around the system and get those quarters out legally.
They're like going there with a baseball bat and say, "Hey, if you don't get out, I'm gonna use this bat on you."
No, I heard in Miami. The one lady, she's an investor, and she waiting till the squatter left the property to go to work. She came inside, changed the locks, and she made a lease from her LLC to her. So she was able to prove to the sheriff that her company owned the house, and she's the tenant.
Mm, mm.
Oh yeah, she pulled a fast one, and then and the squatter's like, well, and the sheriff says, well, yeah, you're right. She told the squatter, where's your lease? Oh, I don't have one. And what are you doing here? Well, no, you're out. You're out. So the tenant, the investor was smart enough that luckily, she bought that property over in Helsinki and they put a lease on her name, and she was able to go in, change the locks and everything.
Wow, that's interesting. I haven't heard of that movie. That's interesting.
They have no right to be there. They weren't there as a renter before. They just saw that it was empty, forced their way in, probably changed the locks, and now they don't want you in.
Dana Fowl recently featured a story on Good Day Atlanta about a family in Tucker that was dealing with a situation just like this. So let's start from the beginning. First of all, why is the house empty in the first place? I guess there are lots of reasons. And how in the world did the squatter gain possession?
Well, it works like this. You decide you want to have your house painted. Okay, you hire a contractor. Contractor, as all contractors do, goes deer hunting over the weekend.
Right.
So the house is empty over the weekend for whatever reason. A guy sees a for rent sign, and he just calmly goes and breaks in the back door or finds the door unlocked. He changes the lock.
I've actually had situations where I walk in and the people are in the house either doing drugs or hanging out. Made a makeshift area for their drug use. A bed thrown there, clothes everywhere. Similar situations.
And now it's his. He's a squatter.
That's ridiculous to think about. So why can't you, as the landlord or the homeowner, just go back and change the locks and take your house back?
Well, that's called a self-help eviction. It's illegal in Georgia. And if you are convicted of it, there are fines, there's possible jail time. And in addition to that, the squatter can then sue you for any damages that you may have caused.
And the little research, Metro Atlanta is like number one in a stat you don't want to be number one in. It happens here more than anywhere else in the country.
Atlanta is a very popular place to invest in residential real estate. Prices are reasonable, the economy's good. And as a result, we have a lot of empty houses from time to time. And that's just ripe pickings. All a squatter has to do is simply find a sign that says for rent. It's reasonable to expect that house will be empty. They help themselves in, and it's likely to take 60 to 90 days to get them out. They get a free ride.
Wow.
Oh, that happens a lot in the ATL. So if you're in a real estate game, you want to feel like you're part of a mission, a team. Make sure you lock in with our. We have a live mastermind that you can tap into right away, and learn the strategies that you need to succeed in the real estate game. So all you got to do is go to the link in the bio, get access to it, because you're going to come up with stories and scenarios like this. You're going to wonder, what do I need to do next? How do I handle this scenario? And you want to be locked in with a team that's going to help you deal with these types of scenarios, because it can happen, right? And I've dealt with them many times. And we got strategies and ways that we handle that.
Yeah, definitely. I've dealt with that before with evictions. So I do have someone that handles that department. And I've done it before myself as well. I've been to several cases. And, it's really sad to say it, but, it's something that it's part of the industry. It's part of the real estate game. Matter of fact, you should have eventually go through one of them, just because that way you know what to do when that happens, how to cover yourself.
100%. I agree. 100%.
Yeah, you have to have everything documented. You have to have everything. You have to have that 3-day demand letter, the 7-day demand letter. You got to have everything, all your docs and all your paperwork before you file that eviction.
100%, because what can happen, it can backfire on you, and the judge can actually boot you out of the property and fine you if you do it the wrong way.
Yeah, no. I said, in all the years that I've been a landlord, I've been to several eviction, and only one time I saw a case where the tenant was right, and the landlord. Oh boy, that judge went ham on that, you know. But yeah, definitely be on, definitely be on guard with everything. And I think once, if you eventually go through a situation, get with us on a private call, and we'll definitely kind of guide you through it.
100%. Let's hop back in here to interest rates. The Fed announced it's cutting the federal funds rates to half a percentage points on a range between 4.75 to 5%, despite the Federal Open Market Committee deeming interest rates still some way elevated, in the words of a Wednesday afternoon press release. So interest rates are making a big impact in a way. Let's check out this story right here. Oh, it wasn't a story. Basically, it's a story, a real story here. But he talks about interest rate. It goes back into the impact of what interest rates can do. At a 5.25 percentage to 5.5 percentage rate that's been in place since July 2023, the federal funds rate has been at its highest level since the summer 2006. And interest rate can be like having bad credit in a way. If you don't have a good rate, you can be spending thousands of dollars more on something that you could have saved those same thousands of dollars, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. So it's almost like if the interest rate's high, it's almost like you got bad credit, even if you have good credit, and you're buying something that you should be paying less for.
Well, mind you, Tony, a lot of people have to think about, okay, if the house, I mean, your mortgage should be same or less if you were paying rent,
Mm.
technically, right? And then it doesn't make sense that you're going to change. Maybe where you pay rent, you're in a better location than if you're buying.
Mhm.
You know, maybe you're in a good area, in a good zip code, and then you're going to buy. You can afford to buy, in another area based on your income, and that's just because you only qualify for, let's say, 6 or 7% interest. I mean, this is what you have. I mean, whatever you get approved from, just because on your you know credit, that's what determines. Sometimes, if what I'm trying to say is that sometimes, your payment. I have people say, "Hey, man, I pay, let's say, 2,500 on rent, and I'm
Mhm.
in a 2 bedroom, 2 bath, but I'm in a nice location. With my income and my credit score, with that budget, yeah, I can buy a house that is worth X amount of money, but it's definitely not near where you live now."
Mm.
So people were like, you know what? No, I'm not going to lower my standards. I'd rather pay rent than buy right now.
Yeah. So it makes a big difference.
So if the interest rate drops even more, and then people can qualify for, a better mortgage, better location.
100%. Let's talk about this next. The blight. Atlanta. You may have seen like the mayor of Atlanta talk about the new blight tax crackdown to boost Atlanta neighborhoods. And we know Atlanta went through the crack epidemic and left a lot of disarray and vacant and abandoned properties throughout the country. And they're hoping to use this type of new ruling to get owners to fix their properties up in these neighborhoods. They're kind of forcing them to do it. They're saying the tax will give greater leverage in persuading absentee owners, which is we like. These are people that don't live in the house, to clean up their property or sell it. So you think it's right for the government to force a person to do something with a property just because the neighborhood wants that, or to force them to sell a property just by making these laws? Is that right?
And it all depends. It all depends on how you look at it, Tony. I mean, we might have some investment that, like, other properties that looks like being abandoned. It's an eyesore to your investment. You know, I know you have to register your house with the county if it's not being used. You have to board it up and maintain it, but most people don't do that. So that's affecting you. I mean, many. Let's say if you have let's say if you have a rental property of a Section 8 house, and because the house next to you is abandoned, it's an eyesore. It will not Your house will not qualify because somebody else's mess. You know, same thing when you're trying to sell a house. You know, people drive by the neighborhood and say, "I love the house, I love the renovation, I love everything," but look, all those houses are abandoned, and then the owners are from another state or in another country, and not doing anything with it.
Mm,
You know, I would say I think that they should do something with it. Either you fix it or you rent it or sell it to somebody else that will do it.
mm. Yeah, I've run into this situation. Like I remember buying properties in areas where the owner actually know that his house is affecting everybody else's property by having a caved in roof, you know, ignored the lawn, you know, broken windows, things like that, and they just don't do anything about it. So this is kind of forcing them, even with code enforcement that can write them a citation. This is kind of like an extra blight tax. But look how high they're trying to hit. They're talking about this can cost. I was looking here. It could be like 25 times the cost. Like here it is right here. The proposal would allow Atlanta municipal courts to hike tax bills by up to 25 times more than the current tax rates for properties considered blighted. Oh, that's
Hmm.
crazy.
Yeah.
That's insane. That's almost like not only enforcing the law, but also taking it from you, almost like eminent domain in a way, I think.
Mhm.
Because you have the power already. I'll give a citation. Sure, you gotta go to court for that. You can place a lien on the property. Now they're going like an extra measure and saying I'm going to increase possibly the taxes on it 25 times when you already know that the taxes in a lot of these areas are already going up.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
good.
If it's fake, you're not doing anything, they're gonna jack up the taxes. Oh wow. That's a good strategy for you. That's a good incentive for you to sell the house.
Right. So if you're an investor and you're trying to get somebody to sell a house, now you can kind of get them to force sell that property now, right?
Yeah.
Because you can bring this up to them and remind them this is where it's at. This is what you need to do.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I think the county, the different states in Atlanta, they should do it. I think they should implement it. First of all, you get another house is being remodeled. You got someone that's gonna live in the property. You're gonna have some, tax income. You're gonna have it's a benefit.
Well,
It's a benefit for the county to do that, to put pressure on the investors.
that's real pressure, man. So, man, it's been a great call. I'm excited about all the new members that are having success with the program now. To get the strategy. If you're not a member yet and watching this live stream, go to the link inside of the description here and get access to our free mastermind. It's going to explain everything that you need to do to get your next passive income property and start building wealth in the real estate game. Thank you so much, Big Jan, for popping in here and sharing and your expertise in this area. Jan is one of the coaches here as well. Make sure you lock in with us. And wishing you a safe travel back home, Big Jan, to where you're going. And every week we have these calls for our members, and for you, we have training for our members. I look forward to working with you and seeing you on our next training. Until then, throw it up like this right here. That means I ask for the money. And once you have the money, you got to throw it up and celebrate. So until next time, I'll see you on the other side. Let's go. I.
Yes, sir.
I'm brand new. Matter of fact, I just found my first renter last Thursday after sweating a whole bunch of bullets on a house that I closed on the end of April. And I guess I'll say I joined this group because, Tony has helped me get started and go on the way. And my ambition is to start a real estate business, not just buy houses. And my goal is to be able to retire early. So I love the term mailbox money. I've never heard that before. I think I heard you say that a couple of times, Tony. So yeah, that's my goal. I want a whole bunch of mailbox money. I want the mailbox full. Because this work thing is not. I don't see myself going another 25 years or so, which is when I officially would retire. So yeah, nice to meet everyone. I guess I'll just be listening because all I got is newbie stuff to contribute. Newbie mistakes.
I mean, I'm so proud of you because you came into the game and you talked about what you were going to get, came in, saw it, and you conquered it. You got your new project, you finished it, and you got a renter. So that's huge. So congratulations on that. New
Thanks.
on the way.
Yes, I even have to go find the mailbox. UPS. Yes.